When I have my dance PTs work with me in my dance PT program, I absolutely make it a requirement for them to always include a hip flexor stretch because it comes up all the time. Dancers are so tight in that hip flexor. They'll work the hamstring, they'll stretch their calves. They'll ignore that hip flexor and I like them to stretch that hip flexor for at least a minute per side. But yeah, I like at least a minute per side because those hip flexors being overused, we need to open up that front, that hip flexor for the core to better work and for the glutes to better work. Because if those hip flexors are tight, it's hard to squeeze those glutes and activate the and utilize the glutes in the hips in their full range of motion. It's hard to stand on top of your leg with those hip flexors, hard to turn with those tight hip flexors. Leg swings. Oh, I just love leg swings because if you're swinging your leg, say out to the side and in, where you like internally rotate and then you externally for it to go to the side, I just love how it feels. I always loved doing that at the beginning of ballet class, even before I was a physical therapist. But those leg swings, if you do it without the bar and they're balancing on one leg, so you are now working on ankle stability, dynamic balance, and warming up and lubricating that hip joint. They're superb, hitting more than one thing. The piriformis stretch. I was debating on putting this one in, but I'm going to give you, if you want to do the piriformis stretch, you must include it with something else. What I mean by that, if you want to do the piriformis stretch, you can also stretch out your upper spine by putting your elbows on top of a higher chair in front of you and lean forward to get the piriformis stretch, but also let your chest drop down to get your upper spine. You can also do the piriformis stretch where you're grabbing that back ankle to get the quads as well. The reason why often not dancers, dance PTs or PTAs, they go, oh, I want to do the piriformis stretch. And I say, why? And they don't always have an answer. If we are working on turnout specifically in their exercises, absolutely, I get that. But when are dancers actually lacking doing the piriformis stretch? I did the piriformis stretch all the time. It was up there with me doing the hamstring stretch. Is it really one that is one that they're not doing? Or do we need to include other things that need more stretching? Because say this dancer has knee problems, so we're working those quads more to help with more of that stability, so now we actually need that quad stretch more. We can still do the piriformis stretch, but don't overlook the quad stretch because that's literally what's being worked extra so much more.